Here we go now.
Hello, Legalites! I am Ange Medina and you are watching Legal Life, the boldest legal magazine show online. Dito lang sa The Bolder Channel. Welcome back to the program, Legalites. Dito sa Legal Life ay makikilala natin ang iba't ibang personalidad at character ng ating mga legal professionals. Be informed, be inspired sa kanilang mga kwento. Is it safe to share your private information on social media? This is the big question. The pervasive use of social media in the country greatly affected the manner by which we interact and communicate. And unknowingly, sometimes we divulge too much information that we subject ourselves to the risk of being the subject of manipulation and fraud. So tonight, we are with Atty. Vida Zora G. Bocar, the Division Chief of the Policy Review Division of the National Privacy Commission, who will help us to understand the issues underlying the privacy law. Good evening, Atty. Vida.
Yan. Good evening, Atty. Ange.
Yes, how are you?
Good evening, everyone who's watching. Okay naman. Ayan, still working hard.
Yes, thank you very much. Balita ko whole day meron kayong activity. That's why we are so
Oo.
glad that you were able to join us tonight kahit
Mm.
hectic ang yung schedule.
Oh yes, anytime naman. Tawagan namin serbisyo sibil para sa bayan ang service na mag ano dito to explain more about data privacy, especially yan about social media na 'di ba, we're the Facebook capital of the Philippines, of the world, sorry.
Yes.
So kailangan
Oo nga.
talagang
So, are we the number
ingat.
one or number two?
I
Sa,
think we're still the number one sa Facebook, no, or sa
wow.
Meta. Should we call it Meta na? Kasi
Oo
'di
nga,
ba
meta
ngayon
na.
we're
Oo,
still
pagbigyan
considered
natin
the
sila.
ano, oo.
Oo, bilang meta ang gusto nilang itawag
Yes.
natin. But
So baka
when
next
when
broadcast
we
niyo sa Meta na.
yes, meta na. Oo nga
Mm.
I'll take note of that. Meta na ang
Yes.
itatawag ko. But when we talk about social media, are we limited to Facebook or ano
Mm.
dapat yung ating idea pag ginagamit natin yung term na social media?
With social media, hindi lang naman siya limited sa Facebook. Collectively, social media includes yun din. We have Instagram, we have Twitter. So, mostly anything na parang public, more of public-facing profile. We collectively, here in NPC, we collectively coin it as social media. Pero yun nga, dahil mas marami sigurong may kilala sa Facebook or sa Meta
Mm.
ngayon, kung ano man yung tawag na sa kanya ngayon, we refer or we associate more of social media with Facebook, pero may iba pa naman ding, kumbaga social media platforms apart from Facebook,
Oh,
yun.
so I see. Anything that provides us with a platform to communicate with each other using the internet, diba? Socially.
Yes, oo.
So we
Socially,
that's
so may
oo.
interaction siguro, may element of human interaction na, nangyayari pero via online, media yung means of communicating with other people or with other individuals, yun.
So papasok dyan ang Instagram, we have Twitter. Is
Yes.
TikTok considered social
I think
media
TikTok is
also?
also, yes, considered na social media na siya. So siya yung latest form of social media ngayon
Oo.
na
And
mas, I think
YouTube
baka
also,
yung
I assume.
YouTube yun. YouTube as well kasi may social media platforms din siya. So most of the tawag dito yun, most of social media na yun, nakakonsider din namin siya na yun, under that collective term as well.
Yes. So yun po ano legalites, what we will be talking about now would be how to secure your private information not just in Facebook kahit yun yung lagi nating platform na ginagamit, but other types of social media such as Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, which are among the social media platforms na talagang ginagamit dito sa Pilipinas. Okay, Attorney Vida, I will start with my first question. Before we talk about privacy and the Data Privacy Act, inform us, Attorney Vida, what is the role of your agency, the National Privacy Commission, and what support do you provide to the public?
So, si National Privacy Commission or NPC as we're normally called, is the agency or the government agency tasked to regulate and implement the Data Privacy Act of 2012 or yung RA 10173. So the Data Privacy Act was actually enacted nung 2012 pa, pero 2016 kami na conceptualize or na formalize. So we regulate what we call yung personal information controllers and processors. We check or we monitor how they process what we call yung personal data or personal and sensitive personal information. So usually yan yung sa mga social media accounts or with basically anything that can identify an individual. So yun, usually your name, your contact details, yung mga nasa birth certificate ninyo or na mga nasa online accounts ninyo. We check or we monitor how those entities process your personal data, and kung nasa sa batas, kung may legal basis ba, kung transparent or alam ba nila how their data is being used, and yon. Also proportionate kung sapat ba yung kinokollect nila or if they're over-collecting. And yon, most importantly, if may legal basis or basis. So, tinitingnan namin how those entities process the information, and if nasa may mga questions or may mga concerns, we either render advice, we investigate, or we also parang conduct what we call compliance checks. So, basically, yun yung functions ng National Privacy Commission.
So, Attorney Vida, ang nire-regulate ba ng NPC is just the entities, di ba, yung mga companies, or do you also regulate the individuals, di ba, yung mga tao mismo, how they use their private information or how they divulge? Is it part of your work
Yes.
also?
Yes. We also regulate individuals, pero more of kasi nga yung, paano ba, the entities are actually the ones collecting more information. Kaya siguro mas sila yung nagiging focus namin of attention. With individuals, more of tinitingnan namin yung what we call the data subjects rights. Kasi under the Data
Mhm.
Privacy Act, you actually have, or as an individual, you have, parang hindi lang right to privacy or right to data privacy. You have 8, kumbaga, sub-rights or additional rights. So that's right to information, right to access, right to object, right to erasure, right to rectify, right to complain, right to file
Mhm.
damages, and yung medyo recent right is the right to data portability. So yung mga rights na yun sa individuals, that's where we monitor or check kung na-observe ba ng mga entities processing information and if meron po bang ways that they can exercise their rights. And may criminal aspect din po yung Data Privacy Act,
Oh,
although
I see.
we're more of recommendatory naman. So that's where sa DOJ naman
Mm.
siya, we recommend if may
Papasok, oo.
criminal, yes. If may criminal offenses, we recommend prosecution naman kay DOJ. Pero pag may mga violations, you can also file complaints. So later, I think ano natin sa NPC. And
Mm.
we can, kumbaga, hear out their concerns as well. And yung iba, may individual professionals, although kokonti yon, if may mga professionals na nagpa-process din ng information, for instance, yung mga doctors, yung mga lawyers, or yung
Okay.
mga freelancers na
Oo, yeah,
nangongolekta rin ng
oo.
personal information or personal data na tinatawag namin, nire-regulate din namin sila. Although, hindi siya masyadong, siguro hindi yung risk or hindi siya ganong kasing dami as entities or corporations.
So
Pero ayun pala,
anyone
oo,
regardless of an
halos.
individual or if that's an individual or a company, basta they collect personal information from the public.
Yes. And
I see.
actually for more information, medyo technical na siya. May
Mm, mm.
advisory, may circular kami where we indicate yung talagang required or mandatory sectors for registration na tinatawag namin. Pero parang siguro the shortest answer is if you collect personal information in one form or another, masasakop namin kumbaga yung jurisdiction.
You
Pero
can be regulated by the
yes, can be
NBC.
regulated. May threshold requirement lang kami for entities, pero mostly for individuals, yung what we call the threshold requirements sa corporations or sa public agencies. If you have more than 250
Oo.
employees, or if you collect more than 1,000 entries or numbers ng sensitive personal information ng individuals, yon, automatically kailangan mag-register ka. Pero
I
yung pag-collect
see.
mo
So
mismo,
hindi din
pwede
lahat
namin
merong
investigate.
threshold.
Yes,
Ayun.
pero more for
Attorney,
registration siya.
mm.
Yun.
Yes. Since our focus is mainly on the discussion sa social media, ano currently yung mga nakikita nyo kung paano na-i-invade ng social media yung privacy ng kanyang mga users?
Ayun. I think with social media, alam naman natin 'di ba how paano ba pervasive or prevalent na ang social media ngayon sa
Mm-mm.
dami na rin ng platforms. Usually yung iba, minsan nga is hindi man siya na-invade talaga, pero mostly it can be paano ba a hub for fraudsters, or yung minsan 'di ba nagagamit na ang daming scams na nakikita natin minsan nung dati sa email lang yung mga Prince of Nigeria and Prince of Ethiopia. Ngayon tumatawid na siya sa social media as well, and nakikita naman natin 'di ba minsan yung ibang entities doon na nag-hold ng raffle or doon na nag-ano ng mga promos
Oo.
nila, and minsan doon na rin nagsa-sign up ng mga ayuda or yung mga
Oo,
nagre-release ng
that's true,
information,
that's true. Oo.
'di ba? So, nai-invade na in the sense na social media is now becoming parang kumbaga our primary source of information. So minsan 'di ba ang news natin nasa Facebook na or nasa YouTube, or
Yes,
yung updates
oo.
natin nasa Twitter na. And
Mm.
yung kumbaga nalalaman natin yung mga latest sa mga parang showbiz or non-showbiz or mga current events with social media na. So, and yung siguro yung frequency of how we use social media, yun yung medyo nakaka-invade na sa privacy na. Sometimes it can be abused na yung minsan akala mo private conversations, nasa screenshot, so,
Yes,
or
that's
nag-share
true.
sa iba, yung link, 'di ba? Pag akala mo ikaw lang yung nag-upload ng video or ng conversation nyo, yung pala na broadcast na sa lahat. So, paano ba? Ganun ka delikado siguro yung social media if left unchecked or left
Attorney
unregulated.
Vida, paano naman kapag hindi kinolekta ng isang entity or isang company pero kusa mong binigay? For example, nakakakita ako sa Facebook feed ko yung super excited niya kasi ang hirap pumila ngayon sa 'di ba, sa passport. Ang hirap kumuha
Oo,
ng slot.
yes.
So once na nakakuha sila ng kanilang bagong passport, they post it on social media, andun lahat ng kanilang information, 'di ba? Kapag
Oo.
mga ganitong instances, covered pa ba to ng NPC? Since naman,
Hmm,
siya nagbigay ng kanyang
oo.
private information. Is this covered under
Usually,
mm
NPC, yes, it's still covered. Although minsan yun nga, paano ba? Siguro yung the way na whether or not yung parang actionable ba yung parang complaint niya. Minsan, medyo may, yun lang yung medyo minsan baka magka-problema or magka-issue if
mm
ikaw yung voluntarily nagbigay ng information. Kasi 'di ba, i-check natin, merong kaso noon actually with I think Facebook way back, yung tinatawag natin na Vivares versus St. Teresa's
Oo.
College. I'm not sure if some are familiar. Yun yung nangyari na I think nasuspend yung ibang students kasi may nag-screenshot ng mga pictures ng mga exclusive girls school na naka-bikini. Tapos in-upload, I
Yes.
think, sa
Oo,
private
madami tayong nakikitang ganyan
parang tayo
sa
nakikitang ganyan.
Facebook,
Akala
'di
mo
ba?
naka-private setting ka or yun pala hindi pala
Oo.
naka-public setting. Akala mo friends lang yung nakakita pero yun pala may nakakita ng iba or 'di ba yung ngayon nga with most even in I think sa US ang Facebook posts or Twitter posts natin ang medyo nagiging subject na ng litigation or ng
That's
administrative
true.
cases. Kasi
Yeah.
titingnan nila na usually in social media platforms, may iba kasing jurisdictions, although hindi pa official sa NPC rin to, some international jurisdictions treat yung social media account owners as what we call yung personal information controllers or ikaw yung dapat na mag-filter kung anong information ang i-upload mo or i-share mo publicly. At ikaw din ang mag-upload or ikaw rin yung may responsibility na dapat kung private lang talaga siya, you have the responsibility to filter out kung sino lang talaga yung makaka-view. So, 'di ba yung iba pag hindi mo kumbaga na filter out effectively yon, mas less yung what we call the expectation of privacy in social media. Kasi nga, 'di ba, internet na siya eh. So, kumbaga, technically for public consumption na yung treatment natin sa internet. So, pag
So
hindi mo siya
minsan
na,
nawawalan ka ng karapatan na sabihin na na-invade mo yung aking privacy because in the first
yes,
place, you have a lesser expectation of privacy kasi kusang loob mong binigay yung
yes.
information,
Minsan
'di
may
ba?
ganun po, oo.
Oo,
Initially, yung, kumbaga, hindi na-invade ng social media yung privacy, pero na-invade siya siguro in terms of yung access, pero as a social media account holder,
mm.
dapat aware ka rin kung gaano kalawak yung pwedeng maging scope once you put anything out on social media. Yun.
Okay. So, Attorney Vida, kanina pa natin pinag-uusapan yung private
Mm.
information
Yes.
about us, parang ganon. Pero ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin ng private information? Kasi itong private
Mm.
information na to, as you said earlier, ito yung mga dapat na i-safeguard, 'di ba,
Mm.
ng public at hindi nila basta-basta pinapamigay or share
Mm.
sa social media. What is private information?
Yung or private or what we call yun, personal information or personal data. So may dalawang classifications or categories under the Data Privacy Act. So personal information muna is yung kumbaga in a nutshell, any information that can be used or that can uniquely identify an individual. So usually may mga categories siya. Yung iba, firstly is one that can specifically identify a person or persons. So usually full name natin yan. So kung ako, ayan, yung name ko, Atty. Vida Zora G. Bocar, refers to me. Kasi ako lang naman
Mm.
yung may unique name na yan. Unless parang by some odds, mayroon kang kapareho talaga ng pangalan hanggang middle initial. Pero usually, di ba, the
Oo.
full name, including your middle name, iisang tao lang yung may hawak nun. Or pwedeng it can refer to a position sa, yun for instance, sa National Privacy Commission, ako lang naman yung Policy Review Division Chief. So kahit na hindi ako magsabi ng name, if I
Ikaw
refer to the
yun, 'di
position,
ba?
ako
Oo.
pa rin yung, kumbaga,
Oo.
ma-identify nila. And yung third, what we call, yung piecemeal information naman, na halo-halo or kumbaga on their own, hindi siya makaka-identify ng isang tao. Pero once you put them all together, parang puzzle siya or jigsaw puzzle, na pag pinagtabi-tabi mo na siya, may ma-identify ka na. So usually sa mga database yan. Kasi 'di ba, pag birthday, pwedeng marami kayong
Mm.
nagbe-birthday ng sabay, so hindi ka pa makaka-identify. Pero if pinagtabi-tabi mo yung birthday, yung address, yung contact number, let's say cellphone number, as well as yung position mo sa opisina, then you can identify a specific
At oo,
individual
kung
na.
pinagsama-sama nila yung mga impormasyon na yon, madaling malaman na ang tinutukoy is 'tong isang tao na
O
'to,
itong
'di ba?
taong to or itong mga taong to. So, kahit na hiwa-hiwalay siya, pero yan, pag nag-piecemeal na siya, pag pinagsama-sama mo na siya into one database, Yun,
Oo.
na-identify mo na yung mga tao na yun or yung specific na individual na yun. Yung sensitive personal information naman are information na exclusive sa DPA. Kasi may iba, they treat some information as sensitive information, pero under the DPA, iba siya, hindi siya considered as sensitive personal information. So may exclusive enumeration siya, medyo mahaba, pero
Oo.
the shortest answer or the gist, kumbaga the shortcut answer is mostly sensitive personal information are information that are used for profiling. So, yun siya yung mga health records, di ba? Educational records. So, for employment, di ba minsan, ay, graduate ng ganitong school or yun, yung iba na including political affiliations kasi yan nga, malapit
Yes.
ang
Oo.
election. So, the fact na kung if you belong to this party or ito yung leanings mo or affiliations mo, yun, considered siya as sensitive personal information. As well as if meron kang case records or court records.
Mm.
And if you have government-issued numbers. Kasi yung
Okay. Ay,
government-issued numbers like SSS, GSIS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig na numbers natin, sa dami ng information na nakakontain dun sa database na yon, kahit mahack lang yung isang agency, di ba? Or EPSA, yung PhilSys natin. So, di ba, sa dami ng information na hawak-hawak nung sa database ng agency na yon, once mahack or ma-infiltrate siya or ma-breach, sobrang dami ng pwedeng, kumbaga, mapaggamitan or maabuso. Kaya
yeah.
siya treated as sensitive personal information.
Oo. You know, kasi for example, kapag nakalimutan mo ang iyong PIN, for example, sa
Mhm.
ATM or yung password mo sa iyong online banking, di ba ang tatanungin sa'yo, what is your mother's maiden name? Di ba?
Yes.
Yung mga confidential information that you can see, for example, sa iyong birth certificate. So this, yung mga binabanggit ni Attorney Vida, this sensitive personal information, these are supposed to be talaga confidential. Kasi kapag lumabas yan sa public, pwedeng gamitin ito against the person, 'di ba?
Yes.
Kasi kung kunwari tinanong sila ng BPI, 'di ba? Na let's check your identity bago namin bigyan ka ng bagong access sa online.
Mhm.
Pag ang tinanong is your mother's maiden name and na-breach na pala yung sa PSA o kaya ikaw with your consent pinost mo sa Facebook, lagot na kasi mabibigyan na ng
Yes.
access yung ibang tao. Attorney Vida,
Mhm.
we have a question here sa Facebook.
Mhm.
This is may nagtanong din sa akin ng tanong na to eh. How does NPC intend to address situations when the processors require you to give absolute consent to getting your information, otherwise hindi ka nila pagpo-provide ng service? Let me give you an example. Kasi I
Mhm.
have an office mate at ipapasok niya yung isang motor sa kasa. And one of the
Oo.
information that is being asked from him is saan ka pinanganak? 'Di ba? Anong taong ka pinanganak? Ano yung what's the full name of your mother and father?
A
So,
father.
instead of availing of the services, wag na lang, sabi niya, kasi
Mm.
parang sobra ata yung kinokolekta nyo. So how do you regulate this? How do you address situations like that with entities who would like to really get more information than what is necessary?
So ngayon, some of these complaints or concerns na bring attention na rin sa amin. So we have firstly yon, you can be proactive, you can file a complaint na rin po, or we have sa website namin, so privacy.gov.ph. We actually have a complaints assisted form na pwede nyo erase yung concern na yon na if they say they overcollect. And then ngayon po yung isa naman din is we actually also have what we call compliance checks. So may isang division kami, which is our compliance and monitoring division. Ngayon, sine-check nila yung level of compliance or maturity level, kumbaga, na nasusunod ba ng what we call yung organizations, yung what we call the 5 pillars of compliance, as well as yung data privacy principles. So one of which is proportionality, kasi doon yung minsan na may tendency na mag-overcollect ka, or pag hindi naman kailangan pero dahil nasa form, parang kumbaga kino-collect nyo na rin for future, yung iba
Oo.
for future legal use, or hindi specified yung use or purpose. So pag mga ganon, those are some of our means or some of the ways na we regulate or we try to curb yung over collection or yung violation ng ng principle of proportionality. And yung iba yan, pag may advisory opinions sa division po namin, so we also render out advisory opinions pag may tanong sila na should we collect this or should we stop collecting this. So yun yung mga ways na we regulate or get across sa organizations. And we also have yung what we call yung Data Privacy Council or DP Council na may kinukuha namin yung inputs from some of the sectors na na-identify namin para makalaman namin ano yung common, kumbaga, mistakes or common parang areas or concerns nila regarding data privacy.
Ayun, so lumapit lang sa NPC and you already have a process on how to handle this kind of situation. So I would like to thank Attorney Lyndon Rutor because the question it came from him. So napunta na tayo sa main issue talaga natin on privacy because election fever is waving, 'di ba? And alam
Yes.
natin 'yan sa social media, sa television, sa mga radyo, tungkol sa election na yung pinag-uusapan. And madami din tayong napansin na sa Facebook, for example, kasi yun naman yung laging ginagamit, may mga public figures or politicians who would create games through social media. And in order for you to avail or have tickets doon sa games na yan or raffle draws, pinapa-comment nila publicly yung iyong pangalan, edad, complete address, and cell phone number. So our question is it legal to do for the politicians to do such? And on the part ng mga tao, 'di ba, is it safe for them to divulge this information?
With regard to the raffle or yung online raffles, although alam ko parang hindi ko maano talaga yung mismong legality of conducting an online raffle. Alam ko naman there is some semblance of legality. Pero with regard to the data privacy aspect naman po, there have been concerns raised and alam ko sa Complaints and Investigations Division namin, hindi ko lang siguro mabibigay yung exact number, pero there have been some investigations conducted na yon related dahil nga sa election fever, kumbaga na ang dami na nag-raise na itong politicians or itong certain groups or parties or mga whether individual or yan, iba pa nga, minsan party list collection pa, na-inform na nila na nangongolekta nga tapos tingin nila baka hindi talaga, kumbaga shield lang or guys lang yung raffle. So, tinitingnan din namin. Pero normally, when processing data or personal information, yung tinitingnan namin is what we call yung parang 3 guiding basic data privacy principles. So, transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality yon. So sa transparency is dapat una alam ng mga data subjects or alam ng social media account owners na raffle pa talaga ito para saan, ano yung price or ano yung kailangan kolektahin. So if clear naman na usually these are through privacy notices or yung terms and conditions. So una, titingnan natin if alam naman ng data subjects yon, so check.
Yes.
Then second, legitimate purpose. So may legal basis ba? So kung legal naman yung raffle or alam naman nila na for promo or for online raffle siya and may basis naman siya, let's say under DTI or allowed naman siya na under Facebook, kumbaga general guidelines, then yun considered parang kumbaga check, pasok ulit. So thirdly is sa proportionality naman. So minsan either sa transparency or sa proportionality tayo medyo nagkakatalo kasi sa proportionality, for online raffle ba, do you really need to collect all those information? Or baka pwedeng pangalan lang can connect you to that account, diba? Or link.
Yes,
Hindi naman
that's
kailangan name, address, and social, kumbaga contact details. Yung iba pa nga, diba? May mga ibang additional tidbits pa na hinihingi or cellphone number pa or landline.
Yes. Tsaka yung ilan ang botante sa household
Oo, yun, ilan
diba?
ang botante.
I think that's not necessary.
Diba? Ilan kayo sa household na registered vote? Oo, na registered voters. So, diba? So, kung yung mga ganong aspects na hindi na siya kailangan for the online raffle, then yun yung pwedeng ma-question sila or nagiging subject sila to investigation. And yung legitimate purpose yun nga, importante na for purposes lang siya ng online raffle. If not, let's say yung social media account mo or yung contact details mo nagamit na sa ibang purpose, for instance, bigla kang nagkaroon na subject ka sa text blast ng kung saan vote whoever man siya. So, kung tingin mo, na-trace mo na doon talaga nanggalingin sa online raffle na nung binigay mo yung contact details mo, then you can raise yon. You can file a complaint or you can raise a concern sa NPC kasi pwedeng unauthorized processing na yun or unauthorized use or unauthorized purpose na ng personal information mo or yung social media account mo. Kung biglang na-barrage ka or kumbaga na-flood ka na ng messages, ng campaign messages or any other messages na hindi ka naman nag-sign up kumbaga in the first place. So, yun yung mga
I see. So, kung ang pagbabasihan lang natin would be the three, kung ang pagbabasihan lang natin would be the 3 pillars, yung ginagawa nila na kumukuha sila ng information pwedeng legal pa. As long as informed yung mga tao kung anong purpose noon. For example,
Yes.
raffle, para manalo ng ref, for example. And dapat proportional yung kanilang kinukuhang
Yes.
information lang. So kung kaya ka na nilang i-identify at i-contact gamit ang yung pangalan, 'di ba? At yung Facebook account kasi nandun naman na 'di ba? Yun na yung
Yes.
Facebook account mo na gagamitin mo sa pag-comment. Yun na yun. And what's the other one, Attorney Vida?
Sorry, actually transparency, legitimate purpose, and proportionality.
Ayun.
So yung tatlong yun, usually when in doubt, yun ang inaano namin na if hindi ka sure kung compliant ba or may violation or wala, yun yung namin na check those three principles. If the answer to all three principles is yes, transparent kami, may purpose, may legal basis or proportionate naman siya, then compliant. Normally we say na compliant. Pero if may gray area or no yung sagot mo sa kahit na isa man lang doon, kumbaga inano namin na be wary kasi posibleng may violation ka na ng Data Privacy Act if one of the, kumbaga, if you answer parang no to any of those three principles kung na-observe mo siya.
So in case may no doon sa isa sa three principles na yun, what is the possible consequence on the part of the person who gathered the information, to process the information?
So, kung depende sa, siguro kung if the answer is no, actually yung parang short answer na rin siya is you might be violating na the Data Privacy Act or one of the provisions. So sa transparency, minsan pag hindi sila aware, so pwedeng unauthorized processing na kasi hindi nila alam, ay ito pala yung pinagagamitan or ito yung kailangan ko na information. Pag walang legal legitimate purpose, then pwedeng unauthorized purpose ng violation under the Data Privacy Act. If hindi naman if over collection siya or hindi na proportionate, then pwedeng maging either unauthorized processing din kasi hindi naman na kailangan yung information na kinokolekta mo, but still you choose to collect it kasi pero hindi mo naman siya nagagamit or hindi mo naman siya kailangan. So yun yung mga instances na pwedeng kumbaga maging consequence niya if you violate or if you say no. And yun iba, worst case, pag minsan unauthorized processing pa or if let's say masubject ka pa ng data breach as a result of holding all our containing, kumbaga storing all that information. Pag na-data breach ka pa, iba pang consequence yun. So, kumbaga patong-patong na yun if hindi mo mapoprotektahan yung data na kinuha mo, let's say, as a result of the online raffle or parang nag-over-collect.
I see. Okay. Attorney Vida, what are the recent o yung mga trending na mga data privacy violation recently na kailangan aware yung ating mga public? Like, number one na yan, yung mga pa-online raffle na mga politicians. Briefly, ano pa yung mga iba na kailangan nilang bantayan or maging cautious sila?
So yung apart from yung iba ngayon, dahil nga medyo nag-trending na yung online raffles na investigate naman na po namin. Yung isa po talaga na kumbaga we consider na nag-blow up are what we call yung sa online lending applications or yung sa OLA. Kasi I think yung iba, di ba yung iba nangungutang sa app, parang within 10 or 15 minutes makakautang ka na ng parang 5 to 60,000 pesos. Kaso ang nagiging, parang yun pala, ang consequence nun, if you default sa bayad or if you default kahit na 1 month or yung cut-off nila, ang nangyayari, dun sa app pala, they request yung access sa lahat ng contacts mo and sa lahat yung even sa social media account mo. The moment na mag-default ka, they text blast everyone in your contacts list. So yun yung naging considered na privacy violations na unauthorized purpose and I think unauthorized processing din. Kasi nga hindi naman aware, kumbaga hindi alam ni data subject or yung nag-download ng app na yun yung magiging consequence pala niya. As a result na nangutang lang ako, biglang yun na universally napahiya na siya sa social media or
alam mo, Attorney Vida, last night kinatok ako ng nanay ko dito sa kwarto at sabi niya, anak, nakatanggap ako ng ganito. Para bang nakalagay doon sa text message kung sino yung kakilala niya na nangutang and nakalagay na isusumbong kita or ipipaste ko ang mukha nitong taong to kung hindi ka nakapagbayan within the day. Parang ganon.
Yes,
so this
yun.
is considered as a violation of the Data Privacy Act. Tama? Kasi bigla siyang nakatanggap ng message at hindi naman niya binibigay yung number niya sa person na nag-message sa kanya.
Or dun sa online lending application na hindi ko naman consent na kunin mo yung number ko para maging, kumbaga maging reference or maging contact nung nangutang sa kanila. So, yun yung talagang I think for the past 2 years, yun yung naging halos naging concentration ng mga cases ng NPC kasi nga yung tawag dito yung sa online lending application, sobrang yun yung naging invasive na talaga sa social media as well as in their contacts list or yung mga mobile accounts kasi nga yung naging una na ng form is I think through text blast po muna. And then yung iba medyo nag-transcend, nag-ano na sa social media. And then yung iba naman is I think some of the other cases na medyo associated din is yung tinatawag niya na yung mga scam or yung tinatawag na revenge, parang kumbaga revenge porn na, di ba yung iba nag-screenshot kasi di ba syempre habang mag-boyfriend, girlfriend
Oo.
kayo, parang send ganitong pics. Tapos syempre ikaw, trusting na sa inyo lang talaga kumbaga limited sa inyo or private lang talaga, padala naman si girl or si boy. Tapos
So
pag
that's even
naghiwalay
a
na,
violation of the Data
yes, it's
Privacy Act
considered.
also? Oh,
Mm-mm. Kasi yun naman, more of sa processing or sa purpose na inintend mo lang to send it to this recipient or to this social media account holder. Pero nung broadcast na niya sa iba, yon nagkaroon na rin ng violation na yung sa privacy mo as an individual. Kasi you
oh, I
only
see.
intended it to share it. Yung iba, yung screenshots ng mga
Personal, sa kanya lang, di ba?
groups.
Oo.
Sila lang or yung
Ayun.
screenshots ng mga conversation nyo sa group chats. So yun, may mga nakukuha rin kami. Kasi nga, ang intention mo lang is dun lang sa group chat ninyo. Kaya akala mo, di ba, minsan normally, pag medyo wala tayong filter sa group chats, lalo na pag mga barkada natin, hindi mo alam, minsan pala may naiinis na or naiinggit na sa'yo. Nagsiscreenshot na pala at sinesend na
Oo.
sa,
So
um,
violation din yun ng data
yes.
privacy.
So,
Ayun.
yun yung
So, oo.
related.
I would just clarify especially doon sa mga lawyers na nanonood sa atin. Ngayon may karagdagang kaalaman to for me. In case that there's this yung term nga nila revenge porn, 'di ba? Yung
Oo, yes.
you are lovers or in a relationship, you send compromising photos or sensitive photos. Kapag yan ay nilabas, 'di ba? After yung maghiwalay, there's a bitter ending, 'di ba? Ginamit mo yan
Yes.
to seek revenge doon sa isang tao. Pwede kang mag-file under the Data Privacy Act, yan ang ating natutunan kay Atty. Vida. In addition, di ba, to filing
Yes.
cases for anti-photo and video voyeurism,
Tourism,
meron na
yes.
din tayo ng Safe Spaces Act,
Safe space,
di ba?
yan.
Oo, so ang dami pala nating pwedeng ikaso. Ayun. Thank you for
Yes,
that,
yun yung
Atty.
minsan hindi
Vida.
nakakalimutan or hindi nga alam nila na you can also file a complaint before the National Privacy Commission.
Ayun. Okay. So, Attorney Vida, ano yung mga tips mo for the public, for them to stay safe and to protect their personal information while using social media? Ano ang kanilang dapat iwasan? Ano yung kanilang mga dapat gawin?
So, yun po, pinaka number one naming tip usually is be cautious of sharing any information in social media accounts. Kasi yun nga po, lalo na or especially during sa internet, in the internet. Kasi once you share or upload any information in the internet or on the internet, ando na siya forever. Hindi mo na siya ma-remove or parang kahit na mag-request ka, lalo na kung sobrang lawak na niya or maging viral yung let's say videos or any account mo, once it's out there, it's out there. Kaya as much as possible, parang think once, think twice, think 100 times before you share
Yes.
any information. Lalo na rin kung sama ng loob yun or kumbaga mga anything, whether work-related or personal concerns po siya. Kasi yun nga, the moment you send it out, ang dami nang gumagamit ng social media to check or to use as basis din yung sa iba sa work, sa termination, or yung iba sa, yung nga, pag na-blackmail ka. So, treat yourself na kumbaga, do I want other people to know this about me? Hindi lang yung kumbaga spur of the moment. So, make sure na ito ba yung information na gusto kong malaman sa ibang tao. Kung tingin mo ayaw mong malaman yung business na yon, wag mo i-share na yon. And know that once you send anything or once you post anything, it will be there kumbaga for generations to come. Kaya kung gusto mong malaman yun ng madla, then sige, go ahead. Pero kung may hesitancy ka, yun, we recommend don't share anything unless sigurado kang gusto mo talagang for public consumption siya. So, yun
Oo.
siguro yung pinaka-tips na natin.
Yes, I remember yung tips na binigay sa ating legalites at sa lahat ng nanonood sa atin ngayon is very related to what Attorney Karen Jimeno also taught yung ating mga viewers nung siya ay nag-guest. Sabi niya, ngayon daw, before they get, may madaming mga corporations that before they employ you, they would do a background check on you.
Mm.
Diba? And one of the things na una nilang pupuntahan would be your social media
Social.
account. Oo,
Yes.
titignan nila, 'di ba? How do you conduct yourself sa social media? And kung
Mm.
ako din si employer, kung makikita ko na pati mga private information, 'di ba? Lahat ng mga angst mo, lahat ng mga reklamo mo nilalagay mo doon. That for
Mm.
me is another red flag, 'di ba?
Yes.
Yung
And even
kumbaga
yung
hindi ka marunong hindi ka marunong
mag-filter.
magtago, mag-filter yung mga confidential na bagay yung nilalabas.
Mm.
That's a big no-no to
Yun.
employers, I
And yung
guess.
iba, I think kahit sa civil service or sa private or public agencies, karamihan na po, usually, they use Facebook photos or screenshots as evidence. Diba? Minsan
Yes.
yung iba niloloko, diba? Akala mo nag-file ka ng leave, ng sick leave.
Mm-mm.
Akala mo may sakit ka, pero yun pala, nagkasakit sa Boracay or nagkasakit
Yes,
sa
that's true.
ibang bansa. So, diba? Akala natin harmless lang siya, pero hindi natin na-realize na may consequences siya, kumbaga, sa work. And yun nga po, 'di ba, na parang hindi natin yung iba rin po sa visa applications, 'di ba? Karamihan ngayon sa US, nire-require na nila na you have to provide access to your social media accounts, 'di ba? So, kumbaga ang dami ng pinagagamitan ng social media na kailangan mag-isip-isip ka na, do I want this to be out of work, or pag nag-apply ba ako ng visa, tatanggapin ba ako pag ako yung nagmo-monitor ng social media account ko, 'di ba? So, yun yung kumbaga importance niya of making sure na yung social media accounts mo are paano ba, safe or talagang nakita mo or na monitor mo yung content niya talaga.
Yes. So in a nutshell, ang kanina ko pang sinasabi na i-safeguard ba personal information at kanina ding in-explain ni Attorney Vida very clearly, ang gusto naming iparating sa ating mga nanonood sa mga legalites is that be responsible users of social media. Tama ba, Attorney Vida?
Yes, and especially yung profiles nyo, 'di ba? As much as possible set to private kasi yun din pala
Mm-mm.
with social media accounts, 'di ba? Ang dami na ring kumakalat na fake accounts, lalo na if nagkakaroon ng head counts, 'di ba? Yung mga ibang bilangan for, let's say, for raffles or for iba yung
Oo.
minsan gumagamit na lang ng fake accounts para makasingil ng pera. So, 'di ba? Ang
Mm-mm.
daming nagiging consequences if hindi tayo maingat na hindi natin alam may iba na palang account na humihingi ng pera sa mga friends and relatives natin pag na-hack. So, check your settings as well. So may mga, I think
Okay.
we have sa website din po namin and our Facebook account. We have a Facebook page sa National Privacy Commission. We usually give out parang weekly tips or minsan daily pa nga po pag medyo sipag-sipag po yung aming Public Information and Assistance Division. So very active po yan. Marami po kaming mga tips and hindi lang po sa mga adults as well. We also have an upcoming, I think, may event din po kami this next week, yung tinatawag namin Kabataang Digital. Kasi even children's privacy rights
Mm-mm.
are kumbaga na-highlight na rin and kumbaga nagiging
Ayun.
subject na rin. Dahil, di
Oo,
ba, ang
so
mga bata
madami
ngayon,
palang
maraming, kumbaga, yung children's accounts, di ba, yung mga public photos din nila. So, yun. Yan na namin, how to also safeguard yung children's privacy rights, especially your own children.
Yes. So madami pala tayong resources from the NPC. So Attorney Vida, paano if our legalites would like to consult NPC or engage with NPC, what is the process? How can they contact NPC? Ano yung pinakamabilis na
So,
paraan?
yes, yung pinakamabilis na paraan is you can check out our website. So it's privacy.gov.ph. I-check nyo lang po, privacy.gov.ph kasi yung iba po privacy.com. Dun sa website po namin, so we have an array of services. So meron na dun po dun yung if you want to know more about the law or yung opinions, may I want to know more. If I want to comply as an organization, pwede nyo rin pong i-click yun doon. And if you want to file a complaint, nandun na rin po yung tinatawag namin complaints assisted form na pwede nating i-check out or i-fill in the blanks na po yung mga kailangan yung i-raise na concerns kay NPC. And yung iba po, meron naman kaming mga email addresses na nandun or our contact information, depende na sa division or area of concern po ninyo. So check out na lang po our website, privacy.gov.ph, and our Facebook page. So alam ko privacy din po yata, or you can type National Privacy Commission. Meron din po kaming Instagram. I think, yan, marami kaming social media accounts as well para active po talaga. We also have a Twitter and Instagram account. So, i-check out nyo na lang po yun. You can type privacy or National Privacy Commission. Makikita nyo na po yung accounts.
Yun. Ayun, so thank you again, Attorney Vida, for sharing your insights and knowledge regarding the privacy law. And I hope, but I'm really sure that our legalites became more cautious and mindful in safeguarding their privacy and personal information while using the internet. So maraming salamat, Attorney Vida.
Welcome. Thank you, Attorney Ange, as well. And stay
Yes.
safe.
So remember, yes, it's better to be private most of the time. Tama, Attorney Vida?
Correct.
So Legal Life will be right back. Don't go away.
Thank you.
So you are still watching Legal Life, but before we continue, let's greet our loyal viewers who are watching us right now. So hello to Attorney Angela Marie De Gracia and Attorney Mark Bantigue. Ayan, they are loyal viewers of Legal Life. And hello also to Attorney Kimberly. Hi sa aking kumare. Nanonood din si Attorney Renz Pagayanan. And I am seeing that a lot of lawyers are, the legal community is really watching tonight. So hello sa inyo. Itutuloy natin mamaya ang kamustahan because before that kamustahan mamaya at pagbasa ng inyong mga comments, we will now move on to the part of our program where we will meet legal professionals and we get to know their other passions outside of the legal profession. So joining us now is Attorney Rolen Paulino Jr. or Mayor Lench as called by his friends and his constituents in Olongapo City. So welcome to Legal Life, Mayor Lench. Ayun, I think
Nakamute ako. Magandang gabi, Attorney Ange, and sa lahat po ng mga kasama natin today. Pleasant day to all of you. Akala ko fashion yung pinasukan ko, passion pala. Sorry.
Oo, fashion. Ready ka ba kung sakaling fashion yung pinasukan mo?
Mas ready sana, pero okay lang, passion na lang. Okay lang po.
So how are you doing? Can you tell us how was your day?
Regular day lang. So nasa City Hall. May mga sinalubong na tao sa bahay pa lang. Ano siya? It's a 24-hour work ang pagiging mayor. Pero okay naman, kaya naman. Ngayon may nahaluan na siya ng mga virtual meetings ngayon and sometimes virtual interviews like this.
Yes.
Pero otherwise okay naman. Masaya siya, very fulfilling. Challenging, but ayan, fulfilling naman.
Yon. So thank you for giving us an idea about what a typical day is for a local chief executive, and it makes us more grateful na napaunlakan mo kami na andito ka ngayon sa Legal Life. Okay, so I'll try to make this very worthwhile for you and for the viewers who are watching tonight. Medyo madami. Nararamdaman mo ba ang pag-welcome sa'yo ng legal community tonight?
Ayun, na-miss ko na sila. Syempre, as the mayor, bawal muna tayo sa mag-practice ng law. So, hanggang kwento na lang ako. So, nakakatuwa. Actually, I was listening into the previous, to your previous guest. And, nakakatuwa kasi medyo, bawas na yung talagang yung application ng especially for those very particular and specific laws, medyo hindi siya usually na-encounter.
Ayun. So, madami kang natutunan kanina kay Attorney Vida. So, nagpaparaffle ka ba? Narinig mo yung kanyang discussion kanina. Dapat kaunting personal information lang daw ang kukunin kung sakali.
Nagagawa din, pero usually hindi naman online. Bihirang-bihira yung online. Last time na nag-online raffle kami was Teachers Day. Kasi sa dami ng tao and sa dami ng teachers and considering the logistics, especially with COVID, Hindi talaga siya feasible kasi na gawin. Pero ayun, I can guarantee you na very minimal naman yung information na hiningi namin and wala kaming planong gamitin yung information na yun kahit konti. Ano lang talaga
Oo.
siya. Strictly for raffle purposes lang.
Oo, kasi kung sakali lagot ka sa National Privacy Commission, 'di ba? So, Lench, let's go on. We have prepared a lot of questions for you so that we get to know you more and your passion about politics. So, Lench, what motivated you to enter politics? Kumbaga, is this a childhood dream or the fact that your father is a politician greatly influenced or even determined the move?
Actually, I mean, looking back, I think the reason why I became a lawyer was because of my inclination to public service. Kinukwento ko nga dati, alam mo yung pang elementary na tatanungin kung ano yung dream mo or ambition. There was one year na ang nilagay ko ay counselor kasi counselor yung tatay ko nun and nakita ko yung ginagawa niya, tumutulong sa tao. So, yeah, sabi ko gusto ko yun. And eventually, gusto ko maging abogado. And I think related yun. So, yung pagiging mayor ko naman ngayon, ano siya, mahabang kwento siya, but essentially, it was, ano siya, tawag ng panahon din. Ayan, may mga cases din na nangyari. Actually, ano yan, my father was suspended. May case na final sa tatay ko na suspend siya actually for 6 months. Yun yung last case na nahawakan ko actually. And yun, napadismiss naman namin. Kasama ko dun, shoutout ko pala si Attorney Mark Bantigue. Si Mark the Spark, hari ng dance floor Bantigue. Kasama ko po siya sa case na yun. At,
Hello, Mark!
Pero libre lang.
Ayun. So, tawag ng panahon, ang pagiging mayor mo, first, it's a childhood dream and also tawag ng panahon and of course, tawag ng paninilbihan talaga. Tama?
Yes po.
Ayun. So, knowing that your father is a politician, nasabi mo briefly kung ano yung history why biglaan you also run for office or the move to enter politics. Anong nakukuha mo sa daddy mo madalas? Praises like good job anak, 'di ba? You deserve a pat at the back, or there are a lot also of constructive criticism. Tatawagin ka niya like, "Jay, ba't ganito yung decision mo?"
Hindi naman. Actually, mostly positive. Mostly positive naman. Alam naman niya na ang maganda rin kasi sa setup namin, although syempre, pag tinignan mo ano bang background ko dito, very minimal. But he understands where I'm coming from. Most of the time, alam naman niya na laging maganda yung intention ko. Mostly, I want to make things better, to make improvements. So usually, magtanong man siya, bihirang-bihira, pero magtanong man lang siya, na-explain ko naman, ikaw naman yung mayor, bahala ka na. Usually ganun naman yung namin, yung setup namin. Pero very valuable naman na nakausap ko siya on a regular basis kasi as someone who is again fairly new to this, it's always a big asset to have someone to be able to talk to, has a wealth of experience on all of these matters.
Yes, that's true kasi importante din, 'di ba? Yung yung mga natutunan niya doon sa kanyang experience. Ngayon, pwede mo ding gamitin lalong-lalo na kung magtatanong ka sa kanya and he will guide you. So ayun, mostly praises. Yun po ang kanyang nakukuha.
Yata, attorney, yata. I think mostly
Yata?
praises naman. Tiwala na lang na praises yung sinasabi niya nun.
Oo. So nasabi ba niya sa'yo, I'm proud of you, son? Ganon. 'Di ba? Kasi that's a praise.
Hindi.
Hindi pa. Diyos ko. Ayun.
Okay naman. Hindi ganun. Not in those not that clearly and directly.
Oo,
Pero
close to that.
yun naman yung importante.
But you felt it, he's proud of you. Oo, naka-live tayo.
Edit na lang yan.
Oo, of course. Sige, kung pwede. Anyway, given that the public is greatly influenced by what is portrayed through social media, 'di ba? And alam nating lahat, images can be strategically constructed, manipulated even, or chosen carefully, 'di ba? Para ang ma-create ng isang public figure o kaya ng politician would be positive impression para next election, ikaw na naman ang pipiliin, di ba? And this is important, lalo ngayong pandemic, because most of our interactions, siguro kayo, to your constituents, madami sa social media kasi dyan sila nakabantay, di ba? Given this situation, what do you think? Do you think it's still important to be authentic, di ba? And if you think it's still important to be authentic despite social media and public image talaga ang mahalaga ngayon, how do you stay authentic?
No, I would say na syempre it's very important to be authentic. Kaya pa rin siya, hindi siya imposible. Especially in our line of work, yung mga nasa public service, regularly kasi nakakaharap mo yung mga tao, nakakausap mo yung mga tao. We're not limited to social media. If anything, although I would have to admit na may effect din naman yung social media, you don't try to portray yourself as, especially ako, I wouldn't call it a challenge, pero minsan, now that you mentioned it, medyo minsan pala na-conscious din ako, no? Iwas din ako na parang, uy, masyadong masaya si Mayor o kaya masyado palang bata si Mayor. Kasi considering the situation, medyo ano pa rin, yung ano natin, yung citizens natin, syempre, generally hindi sila sanay na below 30 yung age ng mayor nila. So, minsan parang, okay, kalma lang, hindi po ganun kabata si mayor, hindi ganun kabata yung lifestyle niya or yung personality niya. So, may halong ganun, onte, very, very minimal. But as much as we can, ako kasi ang naging instruction ko sa team namin is we just put in ang nilalabas lang natin as much as possible exclusively just yung work. Ano yung nangyayari sa city, ano yung mga ginagawa natin, nagawa natin at kailangan pang gawin. We limited to that. Kasi hindi ko naman din nakikita na kung alam mo na personality ako. It's just nagkataon lang ito yung trabaho ko ngayon. So we don't really need to build up an image or personality ganun. Yeah.
Public perception, parang ganyan ba?
Yun.
Yes.
So effort lang. Pero kasi yun na nga, since even during this pandemic, nakita rin naman na ramdam ko rin naman kasi na although sinasabi natin sa mga tao to stay at home, this is actually the time that we were needed most, more. Kaya talagang biglang mas makulit ako, bigla ako lumabas kung kailan bawal. So naman, again, we're not limited to social media at least. At least dito sa Olongapo, no? Hindi naman kasi kami sobrang laki.
Oo. So sinabi mo kanina, hindi lahat pinapalabas nyo sa social media, di ba? Hindi nyo number one priority yung pag-build ng iyong public image. Kasi hindi naman yun yung you see it as a job. But of course, kahit papano, finifilter nyo din yung nilalabas for the sake of sensitivity, tama, sa pinagdadaanan ng ibang tao. And of course, kung ano lang yung relevant para sa kanila, wala masyadong gimmick. Pero kung ano yung related sa trabaho.
Yun po, attorney. Saktong-sakto po yung pagkakasabi nyo.
Oo, na-summarize ko ba ng mabuti?
Kung nauna kang, sana cross-examination na lang. Sinabi mo yun tapos nag-yes na lang ako. Mas mabilis.
Ang ibig sabihin, nakikinig ako sa sinasabi mo. Medyo kinondense ko lang at sinummarize ko kung ano yung gusto mong sabihin. Anyway, and of course, 'di ba? Kasi yung iba sasabihin nila para bang hindi naman ata siya authentic. Nakikita ko naman siyang umiinom pero hindi niya pinapakita in social media. But to me, I think that's anyone, not only politicians, but tulad nga nung sinabi ni Atty. Vida earlier, you are just being responsible user of the social media. Hindi lahat pinapakita mo, and of course, dapat within the bounds of propriety pa din, di ba?
Yes, attorney, which is exactly why katulad na banggit ko, we limit yung aming mga post dun sa page ko. Nililimit ko talaga sa kung ano yung relevant lang, newsworthy, and again, work related lang talaga. Otherwise, wala. Kasi honestly, prior to this, sobrang hindi ako nagsa-social media talaga. Ano rin yan, isa rin yan sa mga naging obligasyon ko bilang mayor. Bigla ako na-obliga na magkaroon ng Facebook account kasi syempre, say what you want about it, sobrang dali kang maabot ng tao kapag meron kang Facebook. They can message you directly kahit nasaang lupalok pa sila ng mundo, and kahit nasaan man ako, pwede nila akong i-message, and that's what's happening now. So, ayun, ano din siya, we use social media as a tool more than anything. Tool siya for governance and public service.
Ayun po. So, yun talaga ang number one na gamit ng social media to connect us, di ba? Kasi yung iba, minsan inaabuso na yung social media, when in fact, umpisa pa lang, dapat we should use it to our advantage and to help other people. So, thank you for, andun ka sa track na yon, you use social media only relevant sa work, and of course, to render public service sa iyong mga constituents.
Yes.
And so, kanina, ang sinabi mo, isa sa iyong mga nagbago sa'yo mula nung naging mayor ka, gumagamit ka na ng social media, ng Facebook, di ba? But aside from that, what has been the biggest life change for you since becoming a mayor?
Ayun, actually talaga, yung pinakamalaking diferensya is yung your life is not so private anymore. Di ba? Syempre bilang public figure, sa pangalan na mismo, public as a mayor, I am a public figure, at least dito sa Olongapo. So ano yun, yung privacy medyo nawala na yan, and that's fine, okay lang naman. Sanay naman na ako, and ano talaga, malaking bagay kasi talaga na abot ka ng tao, and nakikita ka nila, nararamdaman ka nila, and yun lang kasi, and sa mga hindi nakakilala masyado sa akin, medyo mahihain po talaga ako. Natural po akong mahihaing tao, kaya yun po yung isa sa mga malalaking adjustments na ginawa ko. But ano naman po, again, as kasama rin naman po sa trabaho ko bilang public official, government employee, talagang hindi po may iwasan na kaharap at kakausap po ng mga tao. So, yun po, kasi syempre, pag mayor ka, pag maglalakad ka lang sa daan, nakita ka na nila, kanya-kanyang, "Hoy, mayor, may mga ganun-ganun na. All kukwentuhan ka, sasabihan ka ng problema, hihingian ka, magpapapicture sa'yo. Lahat ng yun, on a regular basis nangyayari in public places. So, okay naman. That's really just the biggest adjustment for me. And also, para banggit ko lang, of course, nakikinig ang legal community, hindi na ako nakapag-practice ng law. Yan.
Ayun. So, sabi nga nila, you win some, but of course, you lose some, di ba? So, you win the mayoralty race, but you lose some privacy in the spirit of service, of course. And kasi hindi nga din mapagsabay talaga, because sabi mo nga, 24-hour job yung pagiging mayor, so hindi na maisasabay yung legal practice. Pero since nabanggit mo, namimiss mo din ba ang legal practice?
Yes. Siguro sinasabi ko yun kasi hindi ako nagpa-practice ngayon. Siguro kung nagpa-practice ako, para ano ba itong ginagawa ko? Sana hindi na lang ako nagpa-practice. But anyway, yun lang. Syempre, although, yun na nga, as a younger person, I thought I really said that I wanted to be a politician. Pero eventually, talaga na-realize ko na ano talaga, talagang gustong-gusto ko ang practice ng law. So, nakakamiss din, but okay naman. Walang hinayang kahit onte.
It's all worth it then. Okay, so 24-hour service, yung pagiging mayor, but do you still have time to pursue other passions, di ba?
Meron na, I mean, nakita ko naman, you can find time, you can make time for, yun lang talaga, medyo boring kasi akong mama, so wala rin ako masyadong ginagawa ko ngayon. Recently, pinayagan na yung basketball, nakalaro na ako last Monday. The other day, nakalaro na ako kasi pinayagan na. But otherwise, I just try to read or rest para, syempre, mahirap naman kapag masyadong stress si mayor pag humarap sa pag may lumapit, baka mahindian agad dahil lang hindi maganda yung hindi maganda gising ni Mayor. But in all seriousness, if I needed to make time, I can make time. Mahaba naman ng 24 hours kung tutusin. So, kaya naman, and it's just ilang, wala lang mapagbuntungan ng oras, I mean.
Okay, 'di ba? Sabi mo madaming lumalapit sa iyo, magpapa-picture, magsasabi ng problema and you willingly listen to them. And as a mayor, of course, you concern yourself with almost all of the issues in your city. And aside from basketball na pinayagan na ngayon, before pinayagan ng basketball lunch, how do you unwind or take a break?
Okay. Mula nung nagsimula yung pandemic, naging alcoholic ako. Pwede ko ba sabihin? I-edit nyo naman, di ba?
No, this is live. So I can see 50 people watching right now. So,
okay lang. No. Unwinding, just taking just breather lang talaga. TV or magbabasa. Netflix or whatever. Minsan kung ano lang yung nasa TV or and then occasionally may drinks, but ganun lang, sinusubukan ko mag-jog, yung operative word doon, sinusubukan pa rin. Okay pa rin, sinusubukan pa rin. Pagkatapos ito, susubukan ko pa rin, pero alam kong hindi siya mangyayari, kaya susubukan ko ulit bukas. No, but ayun naman, again, as I mentioned, naman siya, it's something na ayun, ako yun, no? Okay na wala.
Ikaw, sorry.
Parehong screen kasi yung malamang sa akin.
Okay, so sa akin hindi. So ikaw nga. Anyway.
Okay, yeah. So, yun. Naman, again, I think, naman din, very conscious din naman ako sa sarili ko. So, kapag alam kong medyo bibigay yung katawan, kaya kong tumigil. Marami naman na. Lalo na ngayon, pwede ka naman nang work from home kung kailangan. Although bihira.
Well, I think that's important, 'di ba? Knowing your limits, kasi importante 'yan sa well-being mo. Kasi kung ikaw ang hindi okay ang well-being, 'di ba? Medyo madaming ma-jeopardize na plano, especially yung iyong mga obligations now as the mayor, madami yung nakaangkla sa iyo.
Yun na, parang yeah. Go ahead. Sige na. Okay na.
Go ahead.
Sabihin ko lang parang nung na-COVID ako, yung close contacts ko pa na yung mga heads. Kaya parang mga department heads yung mga close contact ko. So parang and may effect din. Kaya din kailangan din very very conscious sa mga bagay-bagay and sensitive.
So nag-work from home ka nung time na yun?
Yeah. 2 linggo ako naka-monitor lang virtually and buhay cellphone ako noon, tapos all things I needed to sign were brought to me. So nagbabalikan kami back and forth na lang from the house to the office.
Okay. You've mentioned earlier about age, di ba? Hindi sanay yung mga tao that during the time that you assumed office, a mayor is younger than 30. Tama? You're younger than 30. Okay. Is being young in politics an advantage or disadvantage?
I would say depende siya. Sa akin, I would say advantage. Advantage siya, pero nagkataon din kasi na abogado rin ako. So, yung perspective ko and yung approach ko sa pagme-mayor, may halong may halong training na ng profession natin. I mean, I take being mayor very I take a very professional approach to it. So, ayun, seryoso ako sa ginagawa ko kasi importante lahat to. There's nothing too small, nothing too big pagdating dito. I think ang possible danger lang naman, masyadong bata yung is, again, yun na nga, yung pressures and yung, well yun, mostly yung pressures ng work, baka baka hindi kayanin. But on my end, since again, I have that training, as well as yung support system ko, yung team and yung mga nasa office and pati dito sa family, ano naman, kinakaya naman, and I never kahit na isang segundo naisip na disadvantageous sa akin yung pagiging bata.
Mhm.
Plus iba rin yung energy ng bata, I would say.
Yeah. So, tama ka. That's yung kahit yung iba sabihin na bata yung mayor, but it's not only you who makes the decision for the city. You have the city council, you have the heads of each department, and kung si mayor marunong makinig, 'di ba, sa suggestions ng etong mga taong to na pumapaligid sa kanya, and of course of the public yung kanilang sentimiento, I think age wouldn't really be a disadvantage. And you never felt it as a disadvantage, sabi mo.
Yeah, that's true. Malaking bagay din, yun na nga, ano bang term? Hindi naman ako masyadong ma-pride sa mga ganyan. So talagang nakikinig ako, I listen, I like hearing opposing views kasi I really think na kailangan lagi may mga devil's advocate. Pero yun lang, ang isa kasing one thing they don't show in the functions of chief executive, actually kasalanan ni mayor lahat. Lahat ng all functions, all decisions, all repercussions, kahit na sabihin mo pang iba yung gumawa niyan, or kahit na ipakita mo lahat ng pinagdaanan bago napunta sa decision na yun, whether it was mostly si mayor or hindi lang si mayor yun, ang bagsak niyan, ang dating niyan palagi sa tao, kay mayor yun. So part ng pressures yun ng position ng trabaho. Pero again, kaya naman, kinakaya.
Yes, which leads me to my next question, because sabi nga natin iba yung importance at yung hatak ng public perception. So pag ganyan, 'di ba, lahat ng kung may isang desisyon na ayaw ng tao, ang laging sinisisi si mayor kasi siya yung mukha ng syudad, 'di ba? So how then do you deal with making an unpopular and uncomfortable, but based on your perception and the data that you have, this is the right decision? It's just that it's unpopular, di ba?
Yeah, tama yun. There are instances that it's really just a question of wisdom. A good example of this was during the pandemic. So, nandoon kami, we were deciding between giving out more relief goods, mas ayuda, or in lieu of doing more infrastructure work, and as well as dredging of the rivers. So nandun kami, inassess namin ano ba yung mas gusto namin. Syempre, it would be more popular if we just give out, if we increase the relief goods, yung relief assistance sa mga tao, definitely magiging mas popular yun. But based on our assessment, it would be a more temporary relief. Kaya parang ayun, alam namin, ako going in, alam ko na mas it wouldn't be as popular now. Well, at the time, it wouldn't be as popular at the time. But we really understood that I understood that it's what's necessary. Yun yung papasok yung gusto versus kailangan. So as mayor, para kang tatay, para kang eldest kuya, you make hard decisions like this. And sa tao naman, I think napapaliwanag naman. I've been talking to people. Pag pinapaliwanag ko naman yung etong this particular situation, ay naiintindihan naman nila na oo nga, kasi kung hindi tayo naghukay ng ilog, baka binaha tayo. Yung dami ng streets na napagawa na during last year, ang laking ginhawa na nadadala nun sa thousands of families na nag-occupy nung streets na yun. So those are things na ako personally, I say, alam ko hindi lahat mag-agree. Alam ko yung iba mas gugustuhin na yun na nga, minonetize na lang yun or whatever. Hindi lang sana nagpagawa muna ng mga infrastructure. But at the end of the day, that is my burden to bear. And ako naman, asa na lang ako na, and tiwala din, may tiwala naman ako sa public namin, sa mga citizens ng Olonga po na kapag pinaliwanag naman sa kanila, they would understand, or at the very least, although they might disagree, they would understand where I'm coming from. And yun din naman yung confidence natin na alam ko naman every time na wala akong ginagawa na hindi maganda yung intention, laging for the greater good yung ating ginagawa. And I thank you.
Okay. So what I get from your explanation is that in making decisions, hindi ang tinitignan mo hindi yung temporary na makakabuti para sa city, but you have a long view, 'di ba? Hindi yung kung if this is popular but ang kanyang magiging effect would just be temporary. You'd rather go to an unpopular and right decision and you base it in long view, 'di ba? A comprehensive view of what's happening. Okay, ang tawag ba dyan, political will?
Pwede. Hindi kasi, ang ano kasi, sa public service kasi, medyo weird yung metrics of success natin. Diba? Paano ba masasabing successful ang isang local government or ang isang office?
Paano ba?
Iba-iba rin kasi. Nabanggit ko lang. Sagutin ko ba dapat? Kailangan ba sagutin? Parang mahirap.
Okay.
Pero yun na nga. Kasi sa akin, iba-iba rin kasi. There are decisions na sobrang bilis. Immediate yung impact sa buhay or doon sa constituent or sa situation. Kaya very fulfilling siya. Literal, pag may lumapit, pwede mo nang magagawa mo agad ng paraan. Matutulungan mo agad. Pero minsan, kailangan ng restraint. But okay, let's move forward.
No, I said okay yung restraint. But anyway, let's now then move on to the lighter part of our discussion, of this guesting dito sa Legal Life. So, we call it's our version of rapid questions. So, I collected some questions on the revisions on the news.
Hindi mo matalino.
Ayaw mo. And revisions to the corporation code. Hindi ko matuloy.
Na-revise na siya. Na-revise na ba?
Wala. Hindi na. Version of rapid questions, just quick answers. Are you ready?
Okay, game. Sige, kaya natin yan.
What's the craziest thing you've ever done in your life?
Nag-mayor.
Okay, what's your biggest weakness?
Ano ba yan? Biggest weakness? I care too much.
Okay, very good answer. Current favorite color?
Sobrang tagal ko na siyang favorite, orange. Orange pa rin po ang favorite natin.
Alright. Ayun po, sinasabi po niya, orange pa rin daw ang kanyang favorite color. And what weird food combinations do you really enjoy?
Kasi kahit paano bang ano yan? Medyo weird. Cheese whiz tapos may peanut butter sa tinapay. Subukan niyo, masarap, promise.
Oo, ayun. Subukan niyo daw, masarap daw. Okay, kung papipiliin ka, free rice?
Napaka-disappointed. Ulit, ano?
Ito na, wait lang, huwag ka magulo. Kung papipiliin ka, free rice or free ulam? What will you choose?
Ulam.
Free ulam. Okay. All right.
Free ulam tayo.
What's the most useless?
Carbs.
Yes, carbs yung
Carbs
free, right? Okay. What's the most useless talent that you have?
Abot ng dila ko yung ilong ko.
Naririnig ko yung mga nanonood, sabi nila, sample. No.
Sayang baka malaki yung chance kung manalo ng mayor, baka matalo pa ako pag ginawa ko dito.
Oo nga. Sige, wag na. Here, what's your favorite curse word? If you have any.
Hindi masama yan eh. Hindi ako nagmumura kahit onte. As in, never said a curse word in my life.
Okay,
not once.
This is your chance. No favorite curse word?
Hindi, wala eh. Masarap sabihin yung sa mga Ilocano.
Mamaya. Sige. Wag na. Masama yun eh. Wag na. Anyway, what song can you listen over and over without ever getting tired of?
May recency bias kasi hindi sila bago. Narinig ko lang sila ulit lately. Yung Umaapaw ng Ang Bandang Shirley, OPM siya. Maganda siyang kanta, promise. Support local. Pero hindi sa Tagalog. Sayang nga. Umaapaw.
Hindi sila taga-Olonga po. Okay, sige. Umaapaw.
Pwede ko sila utuin.
Oo, yun ang hindi ko alam kasi a lot of my friends also, pati ako, lately, OPM yung inuulit-ulit ko. 'Di ba? Sa akin, Your Song ng Eraserheads, inuulit-ulit ko lately. Nasa on repeat ko siya sa Spotify.
Alin yun? Aling songan? Paano yung chorus nun?
Wala. Search mo na lang mamaya sa Spotify. Kung hindi ka pwedeng mag-sample, hindi ko din yung Your Song. Well, anyway.
Sige, wait. Okay, sige.
No, wag na. What is something wrong but sounds right?
Yung mga sagot ko rito.
Ano?
Yung mga sagot ko rito.
Wrong. Baka baliktad. They sound right but they're wrong. Ganon. Oo, ganon.
Ano ba yung tanong ulit? Sounds wrong but is actually right? Sounds right but actually wrong?
What's wrong but sounds right?
Ayan. Yung mga sinasabi ko kasi, pag sinabi mo siya with confidence, mukha siyang totoo. Yan. Yung mga nakikinig mo mga lawyers, yung mga sinasabi ng mga lawyers. Madalas, hindi naman pala tama.
Oo nga.
Pero dahil sinabi with confidence, mukhang tama. Mukhang totoo.
Tama. Yeah. May isang laging ginagamit kapag campaign, yung sabi nilang, pagsisilbihan namin kayo 10 ng aking mga kasamahan, tapos mga 9 lang sila, ganun, o kaya 8. Ganun yung example na sounds right.
Yun yung hinahanap nyo.
Sounds wrong, but sounds right.
Kasi, okay, kasi sa ano yun sa vernacular kasi yun, medyo insensitive yan to.
Sige.
Medyo insensitive yung sinabi mo sa aming mga Katagalugan. So, okay lang yan, para at least.
So ganon ang labanan. Sige, madami pa akong question. Ganon. Sige. Anyway, what social stigma does society need to get over with?
Ano ba? Okay. Siguro very kasi parang
sabi ni Lindon, nilagay mo daw insensitive ako. Sabi niya. Anyway.
Si Lindon? Insensitive si Lindon? Wow, si Atty. Lindon Rutor?
Oo, baka siya pala.
Siya yung okay. Social stigma, maybe hindi ko alam kung tama yung answer, but parang ngayon kasi medyo may weird na cancel culture yung mundo na onting magkamali ka lang wala nang redemption ng mga tao. So parang yun lang. Hindi ko alam kung tama siya, kung stigma ba siya talaga. Pero ngayon kasi pag nagkamali ka sa social media, medyo babay na. Well, hindi sa Pilipinas, tsaka hindi sa mga politician. But anyway, we can move on.
Yeah, yes. So ayun nga, tama. Yung cancel culture, di ba? Minsan nakakalimutan that people change, di ba? The person yung mga nagawa niya, the worst thing that the person did, that's not him. That's not his totality. So, him or her. Tapos
yan, may redemption ng tao. May laging hindi dapat nawawala ng sa future and sa life.
Habang buhay, pwedeng bumawi. Habang buhay.
Okay.
Habang buhay, pwedeng bumawi. Okay. Alright, if you could trade lives with someone, who would it be?
Masarap maging panda. Kita mo ba yung mga panda sa mga sa China? As in yung binibaby lang sila, napakain sila. Ngiyakap-yakap mo sila doon. Yung masarap na buhay, wala ka nang gagawin. Papakainin ka na lang, tapos mamahalin.
Okay, ganun pala ang gusto mo? Okay, but anyway, gusto niyang mag-trade life sa isang
panda. Sa China, specifically.
It's with a panda. Na nasa China.
Kasi hindi ako sure kung kumusta. Yung mga video na, alam mo yung parang 24 hours nakatutok lang sa kanila. Kasi at least alam mo yung mga yun talagang hindi naalipusta. Hindi mo alam
Oo.
kasi yung sa ibang lugar hindi na natin masabi, baka kawawa pa na
Pero
sila.
di ba kapag ganun, kapag inalipusta, it makes you stronger or anything. So yung panda, medyo
Depende.
mahina yung loob kasi, di ba, hindi masyadong na-challenge sa buhay.
Malambot yung panda, malambot.
Okay, malambot yung panda, gustong-gusto niyang niyayakap at gusto niya, nakaupo lang siya at pinapakain lang. Okay, alright.
Parang pamangkin ko yun.
Noted daw, sabi ng mga nanonood.
Parang pamangkin ko yun. Parang pwede mo palitan yung sagot ko. Pwede maging pamangkin ko na lang
Ano?
ako. Yung pamangkin ko si Cedric,
Cedric, sino
parang
mo?
sure na. Lahat ng sinabi mo parang si Cedric yun.
Oo, talaga. Gusto mo?
Pinapakain
ng
lang siya,
buhay.
niyayakap lang. Ayoko, okay na ako.
Kaya nga eh. Pinapataba, ganon. Anyway, spontaneity or stability?
Ulit, sorry?
Spontaneity. Spontaneity or stability?
Stability. Boring ako eh.
Okay. Who would you rather have to use a cheese flavored toothpaste or a ham scented deodorant?
Sobrang dali. Cheese flavored toothbrush. Toothpaste, sorry.
Oo,
Toothpaste. Flavor lang naman eh. May sumagot ba ng ham dyan? Natanong mo na ba to dati?
Ano?
Natanong mo na ba to dati?
You know what?
May sumagot na ba ng ham?
Agree ako na cheese dapat yung tamang sagot. Pero kung sakaling sinabi mo na ham, meron akong ilulusot kita eh. Kasi di ba, amoy pa lang ulam na. So pwede yun. No? No?
Amoy pa lang ulam na?
Amoy pa lang ulam na. Yes. And you choose
Consistent.
free ulam over free rice. So, anyway.
Nakuha ko na kasi ulam kanina, kaya ngayon, toothpaste naman. Kasi importante yung ngipin natin.
Eh, paano kung blue cheese? I mean, or yung mga cheese na...
Again, flavor lang siya. Hindi
flavor
naman
lang.
sinabi na yung effect niya. Yung effect niya as toothpaste, mag-iiba.
Mm-hmm. Okay, alright.
Pinag-isipan yung mga questions dito.
Oo. What values of the next president are most important to you?
Okay, dalawa na sabihin ko dito. Una, kasi natanong na ako dito. Pag tinatanong ako sino presidente ko, ang lagi ko sinasabi yung magbabayad ng PhilHealth. So gusto ko yung nagbabayad ng utang. So medyo malaki na yung collectibles namin sa PhilHealth. Nahihirapan na yung hospital namin. That and ayun, again, hindi ko alam kung values siya or what, but ay very important sa akin as a mayor, as a local chief executive, ang gusto ko sana alam nung presidente ko ano nangyayari sa ground, mas aware siya, especially with what happened during the pandemic. Hindi talaga pwedeng may gap between the national and the local kasi magkakaiba yung realities sa ground versus sa national level.
But how do you hindi, sige, wag na.
Pero walang
anyway,
gap. Okay yan. Nasa gobyerno tayo pareho.
Oo, hindi kasi ang problem ko with that, if kapag masyado namang micromanaged ng national yung mga local government units and di ba, it deprives them of being resilient and be adaptive kung ano yung nangyayari sa kanila sa ground. So yun lang naman ang
fair. No, that's fair, but sana naman hindi nakasama sa kailangan naming adapt yung stringent or masyadong rigid na policies naman na national. So parang more on naman, we're not asking for micromanagement. No, we hope that the policies would be more reflective on what's happening in the localities. Yun lang naman.
Ayun. So ayun po ang kanyang gustong iparating sa ating mga national candidates. Anyway, so andito na since Legal Life ito pa, hindi ko pa pala natanong, what's the smartest thing you've ever done?
Yun, nag-mayor ako.
Kanina crazy, yes? So it can be a crazy idea, but also smart.
Siya rin yung smartest na ginawa ko. Like, I could have not done this. Siguro yung craziest, siguro yung smartest, yung craziest yung nag-re-election, yung nag-file ako for re-election. Pwede gina lang. Para magkaiba yung sagot. Para hindi naman inulit-ulit lang.
But crazy and smart, those two adjectives, sounds good naman dun sa sentence mo kanina. So, good job. Good for you. Anyway,
Salamat.
eto na. How does being a lawyer help you in fulfilling your duties as a mayor? Kasi napapansin ko yan every time may mga kandidato, di ba? So, i-highlight nila yung kanilang background as a lawyer. Is it really needed? How did it help you?
Okay. Nakita ko siya, malaking bagay siya. Very highlighted siya during the pandemic. Kasi this was also the time when kasi kung dadaan pa ng city council, medyo mas matagal kung ipapasa siya as ordinance or resolution. So we were also required to, well, again, by the circumstances, required to pass executive orders and other guidelines and policies. So iba rin yung iba yung confidence na binibigay ng isang lawyer. So meron ka na agad na legal perspective sa mga actions na ginagawa namin. Kasi 'di ba supposedly implementing lang ang mayor. Ang executive implementing lang naman 'yan. But ayun, since medyo may background ako pagdating sa batas, iba rin may confidence na dala. May confidence na dala. Plus, eto totoo to, mas naniniwala yung mga tao sa'yo kapag abogado ka. Again, kahit mali sinasabi mo. What sounds right but is actually wrong, yung mga sinasabi ng ibang lawyer. Kasi sinabi na may confidence kaya parang totoo. Kaya maganda maging lawyer. Sa mga hindi pa po lawyer dito, mag-lawyer na kayo, okay siya.
Ang napulot ko doon sa sinabi mo is that hindi, but anyway, tama yung sinabi mo kasi whatever your intention is, kung kahit maganda yung plano mo, if it's not legal, di ba? Hindi mo alam kung legal ba to.
Magkaka-issues din siya, yes.
It's still wrong, di ba?
Yeah, the challenge is part of the challenge of governing and governance is also you need to work within the framework, within the proper legal framework.
Within the bounds.
Within the bounds lang dapat.
Yes. Madaming mga fun and interesting comments but we're ran out of time. So,
okay lang, marami akong tanong.
Madami kang time.
Marami kang time.
You browse the comments and then batiin mo yung mga kakilala mo.
Sige, wait. Una, gusto kong batiin kaya nabati ko na si Mark. Gusto ko lang batiin si Kenneth. Kenneth the Dragon Reganyon. Isa po siyang batikang abogado na kinikilala po ng buong bansa. Kay Christine Ipapo, kahit hindi mo ginawang ninong ng anak mo, okay lang. Kaibigan pa rin kita.
Magyayabang ako, no? So, si Luna, ang tawag niya sa akin, Ninang Ange. So, sabi ko, I'm the godmother that the child chose. Kahit hindi na ako ginawang ninang.
Okay lang. Malalaman yung mas importante ako.
Okay.
No, ibig sabihin, I mean, mas importante yung role ko, hindi lang ako, hindi ninong. Ibig sabihin, yun. Kay Minette Idol Shoson, na may-ari ng Bataan, na nasa DOTR na ngayon. Hi po, ang galing. Si Minette nagbabox pa rin siya, ang galing niya magbox. Ang galing niya talaga. Tapos nakita ko kay Faye Christina Sino Cruz Rutor. Shout out sa'yo. Hanggang doon lang nakikita ko sa
ako din hanggang doon lang yung nakikita ko.
Sorry. Yun. Parang maraming comments but yung kay Faye lang yung nakita ko. Hi Faye! Sana okay ka pa. Okay ka pa ba, Faye? Maraming hindi naniniwala kung sinabi mo okay ka. Hi rin ko.
Si Mu at si Angel nanonood din.
Kay Amy pala, Kay Amy na talaga namang gustong pagsilbihan ni Mark. Bantige.
Ayan.
I know. Hi, Angel.
Ayun.
Tsaka
And hello.
Ayun pala, si Mark pala yung president ng Jamich.
Oo, siya. Congratulations sa president ng Jamich. Anyway, speaking of Mark, hi also to Mark Dolo tsaka si Patty na nasa Canada. Hello, thank you for watching kahit na super late na sa inyo. Ayun, other greetings or paalala?
Tandaan po natin na Magdasal po, maging mabuti po tayong mga tao, maging maingat po tayo sa panahon po ng pandemya. Importante po maghugas ng kamay, mag-face mask. Hindi na po required ang face shield, so yay. Social distancing po, kung hindi nyo kilala, huwag nyo amuyin. Ayun.
You're a panda. You can't help but di mo kilala, you hug them. So
Walang COVID kapag panda ka.
okay, all right.
And of course, I'd like to thank Attorney Ange, of course, for the invitation. Nakita ko rin kasi this platform also gives you and everyone the chance to learn new things. Especially especially very specific yung mga napag-uusapan nyo. So it's also good not just for lawyers but also for laymen or non-lawyers na marinig din yung mga napag-uusapan sa mga ganito. Ang problema ko lang, na-realize pala nila, teka, kahit sino pala pwede maging mayor. Yun lang. Pero okay lang. At least
gusto mo nasa puso servisyo.
Ayan, binuksan ko yung, nakita nyo na basta gusto nyo gusto nyo ng public service, kayang-kaya. Yun yung pangarap ko. Pag kunyari may bata, sabihin nila, si Lenji nga nag-mayor eh. Pwede rin tayo. Yan, di ba? Ano tayo? Inspiring.
Yes, very inspiring. I know it's not your intention to get people inspired, but it's really inspiring. Especially yung first portion natin. Yung mga magagandang tanong, very inspiring. Ako na-inspire ako eh. So, Oo. Well, anyway, wala na tayong time. Ang daming mga fun and exciting comments we expected. But, ayun, hindi na natin mababasa. Hindi na natin. Wag na nating basahin. Mamaya na lang after the show.
Ay, ganda mo raw. Sabi dito sabi ni Texter 09, wala. Okay din. Sige na.
Anyway, so, thank you very much, Lenj, Attorney Mayor Rolen Paulino Jr. And I hope you enjoyed your experience here at Legal Life at sana nakapag-adwine ka, di ba?
Tapos salamat pala sa salamat. Yeah. And also I'd like to thank you and of course Legal Life for sending over food. Nakakatuwa naman na pinapadala niyo lahat ng guest ng pagkain pag nag-guest sila. So salamat sa pizza and pasta na pinadala niyo. Tsaka parang may sashimi pa raw na parating. So, salamat. Hindi ko lang sure kung ano yung pinadala mo sa iba. Pero thank you. As in, natuwa naman ako.
Okay. Alright. Sige. Hoy, nag-bonus ka. Baka naman, ikaw pwedeng, ikaw magbigay. Hindi kami
wala kang bonus.
Ano?
Sorry, nakalive pa pala.
Wala tayong time. Anyway. Oo. Mamaya na. Mamaya, backstage. Anyway, so thank you very much again, Attorney Lenj Paulino, for giving us and sharing us your time and sharing us your life, diba? A glimpse of your life. So anyway, ayun po, Legal Lights, for sponsorships and collaborations. If you want to feature your firm or your brands, please email boulderchannelph@gmail.com and follow our socials, The Boulder Channel. Don't miss Negocentials with Ellen Samano next week at 6 p.m. And immediately after this, please stay tuned for Curve TV at 7:30 p.m. with Architect Patched after Legal Life. So again, my name is Ange Medina, and that is Attorney Lenj Paulino, and you've just watched another episode of Legal Life, the boldest legal magazine show online, dito lang sa The Boulder Channel. So remember, bawat araw walang bibitaw. Stay safe, everyone!